Right, well, participatory ESOL is massively based in the theories of Paulo Freire, who was a Brazilian educator and famously wrote a book called Pedagogy of the Oppressed. And he was a literacy teacher actually, and he believed in rejecting what he called the banking model of education, which is famously summed up by this little diagram of students with the top of their head removed and all of this knowledge being deposited by the all-knowing teacher into the head. And instead of that, he wanted it to be participatory and for the impetus to really come from the students. He had radical theories around literacy, that adults can only acquire it if it has meaning for them as part of their struggle. He was massively influential on development theory, and he believed in teachers as cultural workers, which is similar to the Gramscian idea of the organic intellectual coming in from the community. His theory was influential on critical pedagogy in the US. Elsa Auerbach came out of that kind of movement, or was part of that movement, not really sure. And she was the one who really wrote about it, its application into ESOL for the first time, because it came into the UK in the 70s in literacy teaching, but never until this Reflect for ESOL project, which was, what, 10 years ago or something, did it come into ESOL, really. And the big thing to remember about Paulo Freire is that it's all about education can either reproduce the system or challenge it, and we're challenging it.
So we're not actually on the camera, it's off. Everyone's both the teacher and the student. The balance of power between teacher and student is equal.
It's student-centred. There's no preset syllabus. The students decide.
Building a class community. Building a community in the ESOL classroom is fundamental. It's a starting point, it's the core. It means breaking down barriers, being inclusive, respecting each other and others' differences, and most of all, feeling safe. Once barriers are broken down, bonds can be built. Once bonds are built, learners feel confident and have the space to share their individual experiences and concerns.
Okay, so valuing students' experiences is using active valuing and involvement of students' lives, using students' lives as a basis for valuing their experiences. Students set the agenda together, which involves considerable negotiation. The teacher is responsible for keeping the curriculum broad so that everyone's interests and experiences can be included. You're valuing experiences and skill sets, pushing the idea that everyone can learn from everyone else, and people need to be able to actively listen to each other in order to make that possible. They're looking from the outside in and the inside back out. The teacher has to consider everyone's education levels and how that influences their approaches to the classroom and their relationship with the teacher. The educator needs to encourage all the learners and enable everyone to participate, and that means that they have to use a variety of activities and methods in the classroom, and giving different opportunities for people to express their thoughts and their feelings.
So the techniques, methods and tools They aim to build awareness and interest in each other. Some of the tools can be visual, you can incorporate other senses. They are used to create association and to communicate messages, experiences, problems. The students help to define the techniques and methods because it is their experience that you draw from. So the students lead it, you facilitate, you help out, you can learn from students yourself. We can integrate lots more traditional methods from well-established teachings, and we're not trying at all. We're not training out all the other methods. It doesn't always have to be serious. We can make it fun and relevant.
Try to start. Okay. We looked at some of the challenges with the participatory approach. We looked at 5 challenges. None of these we thought were insurmountable, and we all thought with more research and more sharing of practice, the solutions could be found to them. But so I'll keep it brief. Okay. So one, we think there are issues with using it with lower levels. We think particularly if you have a low oral C level in the class, and we think that's something that we need to look at how we use the tools to resolve that issue. We think sometimes you meet resistance from the students. It might be to do with their expectations of you in the classroom, expectations of them in the classroom. It may also be to do with worry about getting involved with political activity if they've fled persecution or issues in their own country. We thought 3, there's obviously the restraints of institutions and also restraints of the kind of methodology that exists in ESOL practice at the moment. Obviously there's the pressure of funding, of accreditation, and also institutions where they want you to keep to a strict scheme of work and write your lesson plans up each time, and this is something we need to challenge as a kind of body of workers, I think. Number 4, we think taking action is inherent in the kind of ideas of this approach, but sometimes it's very difficult to make that come into fruition. It's something we need to share experience and research on. And lastly, as always as teachers, there's the issue of time. So it's time to develop this approach, time to develop as a teacher, and time to create a community in the classroom. And I think, you know, maybe there's no way of resolving that, but it's something we can work on together by collectivising it.
Participatory ESOL aims that learners develop the language, confidence and knowledge to take control of the content of the classes and also of their lives outside the classroom. Although it can be difficult, it is important that students' voices are heard both inside the classroom and outside. Learning inside the classroom will ideally lead to collective action and community engagement outside the classroom.
Right guys, we run a little bit over in that session, so we're going to meet back here again at 1:10 for the afternoon sessions. And when we meet back, you'll have a chance to decide whether you want to go to the action session or the section that's going to build on those starter activities around identity, community and discussion in the classroom. Can the people who put themselves down as vegetarian come and get food first, just to make sure there's enough for you, and then free for all after that?